Well, good morning, Jagender Rana here. Down bowls a doosra. Down bowls a doosra. And it's paused the beginning of the end of the Iran conflict or just the end of the beginning. Trump's abrupt pivot on targeting Iran's power and energy infra, marked by a 5-day pause, has landed like a pressure valve release. On a world bracing for escalation, the reaction was swift and telling. Oil price, the ever nervous barometer of geopolitical anxiety, exhaled. So Brent crude plunged over 7%, slipping to $104 per barrel, while bruised equity markets appear poised for a rebound after weeks of relentless sell-offs. The recent carnage, especially yesterday, with the Sensex down 12.7% and the Nikkei shedding 10% over a month, may finally give way to a cautious rally. US stock futures were climbing at the time of writing this. So an interruption, even a partial and uncertain one, and a conflict that seemed to be hurtling towards a wider conflagration, is undeniably welcome. Trump's earlier ultimatum to Iran to reopen Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours had raised the specter of a critical checkpoint snipping shut now with the Trump suggesting Tehran is open to a deal. A narrow diplomatic window may have emerged. That channel, however fragile, must be sustained and broadened. This is where intermediaries like European powers and India can step in, shoring up what remains an uncertain back channel. Uncertainty, in fact, is the defining feature of this moment. Trump's famously mercurial approach leaves allies and adversaries alike guessing. The fog of war is thick and unknown. Announced, to borrow a phrase from American strategic lore, Iran, for its part, denies any talks with Washington, though such denials may well be tactical. There are hints of possible fractures within Tehran between its military establishment and the diplomatic corps. Which faction ultimately shapes policy could determine the trajectory ahead. Israel's silence adds another layer of ambiguity. Will it align with Washington's pause or pursue its own strategic calculus? Meanwhile, Trump was conspicuously stopped short of ruling out strikes beyond energy targets, keeping the threat matrix alive. So three paths now lie ahead. The post-optimistic sees an extinction of the pause, evolving into a broader de-escalation contingent on Israeli cooperation. A middle path involves a partial American disengagement, while Israel and Iran continue hostilities containing the crisis but not resolving it. Or the worst case scenario envisions continued Iranian strikes in the Gulf, triggering wider regional involvement and potentially dragging US back in the greater force. Remember, by the end of the 5-day period, 4,500 US Marines will reach the conflict zone. This moment then sits delicately between resolution and deep relapse. It may mark the beginning of the end of this conflict or merely the end of its beginning. Thank you. Thank you very much.